Hello, my friends. Welcome to my office. Today we're going to do something super fun. I actually decided to record this kind of spur of the moment because it's something that I'm doing right now. So it's very possible it's something that you're doing right now if you are a gardener or a seed lover. We are going to be shopping Floret's sale. Now, the sale is not happening for another 2 days. You can go to their website. It is floretflowers.com, and you can check out what I am talking about there. But today I'm inviting you to pop into my computer with me and shop through what I love, what I've grown, what I recommend, and kind of demystify. Essentially, Floret has taken their giant seed sale and divided it in two. She is going to have, I'm referring to Erin Benzakine, who's an amazing gardener and grower. She's going to have a Hardy Annual and Sweet Pea sale coming up here in about 2 days. And then she is going to have a Heat Lovers sale. I believe that's going to be in January. Heat Lovers refers to things that are going to be grown throughout the summer months of 2023. Now, regardless of when you are watching this video, it kind of transcends all of it because whether you are buying for 2023 or you're buying for 2027, a lot of these seeds will still be around, still be classics, still be wonderful things that I love in my garden. So with that said, let's jump right in. As we get started, just a few little disclaimers. Erin Benzakine and Floret, they don't have any idea who I am, but I'm just a huge fan. So this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. It is just my honest, personal love of the brand and everything they do. All right, friends, here we are. This is floretflowers.com. This is their homepage. Once you are here, you can see the banner at the top announcing their seed sale in 2 days and just over 20 hours. On the right is a link that says preview here. Click on that. That's going to jump us down to the full list in alphabetical order of the seeds that will be included in this sale. I'm going to go through them in order, calling out the things that I really, really love. And then at the very end, I'm going to go over sweet peas, which I feel like need their own category. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, as we begin, the very first thing, there's millions of things that you can choose from here, but I think it's important for me to give you some advice on some things that I've grown, things I've loved, and things that are successful for me. So let's start with bachelor buttons. These are easy. They're great for kids. It's immediate gratification. I love them. My favorite in this series is actually the Classic Magic. Love them. Also, if you're a blue fan, it gives like an actual, if you go for the Classic Fantastic, that's just like a really rich blue. I love it. As we move down, I'm actually kind of interested in the poppies this year. I love a breadseed poppy. They're a little bit wild hair crazy. For me, if I'm looking at my front garden and the aesthetic there, I actually think that the Black Beauty would lend itself just beautifully to that color scheme. I'm also looking down here at the Rattle Poppy. This I'm going to grow with the thought that I can use this in dried arrangements and maybe add them to a beautiful fall wreath next year. Moving down, calendula. There are some great calendula choices here. In terms of the ones that I love, I am really drawn to the Bronze Beauty. Zeolites is another fabulous arrangement. Ivory Princess is also great. The only reason I hesitate is because I have so many beautiful other kind of disc-shaped florals in that ivory creamy tone that I enjoy more, specifically zinnias, but those aren't going to be in the sale. Those are going to be in the Heat Lovers. Next, moving on to California poppies. I love a California poppy. The one particularly that I've grown that I've really, really loved is this one down here. It is the Thai Silk Pink Champagne. Very easy to grow. Scatter, forget about it. They come up, they're beautiful. I was thinking I might try something a little bit more punchy this year with the Thai Silk Apple Blossom. I don't know. I'm thinking I might still stick with the Silk Chiffon. All right, next, at the very bottom, we have Chocolate Lace Flower Dara. This is beautiful. I use it all the time, but buyer beware. Once you get this in your garden, you are going to notice it. Spread its seed everywhere. It is super prolific. I would lump this into the same category as all of the Queen Anne's lace. Again, gorgeous, love to use it, but once it's in your garden, you are really going to actively have to thin this out. In fact, I planted this 2 years ago, and I have not replanted it since. It is just prolific all on its own. Moving to the next page. Okay. Up at the top is cress. Now, a lot of people are going to breeze right by this selection because it doesn't seem very fun. However, I will say that when I create floral arrangements, I find that if you don't have greens or texture, it almost feels like your floral arrangements fall a little bit flat. So as I'm looking at this, the ones that I have loved, I love the classic penny cress. However, I am actually going to be growing the wrinkled cress this year. That one is really catching my eye. Moving down, Feverfew, again, a super easy classic. I actually am going to try this Vegmo, we don't know, Snowball. Now, Feverfew, the scent of it is not for everyone, but it doesn't bother me, so I would like it, and I'm going to use it. Moving down a little bit further is Larkspur. Larkspur is actually a really great one. It gives you this kind of what I would refer to as, or categorize as a spike. This would be similar to a delphinium in the garden. For me, I am going to be starting Earl Grey as well as Smoky Eyes in my garden this year. Moving down a little bit more, we have a few other selections. Love in a Puff. A friend of mine is a florist and she grows this and uses it to decorate all sorts of arches and beautiful things. Really, really love it. The next thing I want to point out is Love in a Mist. You have so many different choices here. And I have grown African Bride. I have also grown Albion Green. And the other thing that actually you can kind of see it here is it sets out these beautiful seed pods that really look stunning in arrangements as well. And it almost has that breadseed poppy rattle feel and texture, and it's really fun to harvest seeds from these as well. So again, this is one of those things where once you buy it, you can harvest your own seed and keep going from there. All right, page number 3. Again, back to the texture game. I am going to gravitate towards this ruby gold variety, and here's why. When I create with flowers in the garden, I am really drawn to those smoky, barely there tones. I also love something really saturated and moody, and so I feel like this Auroch ruby gold will lend itself to a lot of those different tones. Moving down to our next category that I want to talk about, this is commonly known as pincushion flower. In its botanical name is Scabiosa. I love Scabiosa. It is such a great performer, and it just blooms and blooms and blooms. Really long stems, really elegant. I have grown Black Knight for many years. This next year, I am actually going to bring in this Fata Morgana. And again, you can kind of see I'm drawn to those like peachy apricot-y, barely there tones. I have a different white that I'm going to be using than this Snow Maiden. It is Fama White. That's the one I'm going to be including. The other one that I'm going to be growing is this one down here. This is, you can see it has a white bloom on it. I'm not growing it for the white bloom. I am growing it for, let's see if I can focus in here. On the left, you will see this like beautiful globe seed head. That's what I'm growing it for, because again, I think that would be a great dried element to bring into like a wreath or a fall floral. You're also going to see down here more Queen Anne's lace. Again, this is just kind of more of the same. Once you get this in the garden, hard to get out. Moving down, we have another variety of poppy. These are the Shirley poppies. Now, I love this amazing gray, but if we toggle back to my color scheme, you can see right here, this is just not it. It doesn't go. So this is something that I'm going to put down in my cut garden, or maybe mixed in with veggies. because I love it and I want to grow it and I want to play with it. However, it isn't something I'm going to put in a formal bed. Now, down here, I'm actually going to be growing this Silene Blushing Lanterns this year. This is something I haven't grown before, but I like to push myself playing with new varieties, and I think it is just the sweetest. Next up, you're going to see Snapdragons. I am not a fan of all Snapdragons. I'm very particular with mine, so I probably will pass this up. And maybe I'll do a separate video on the Snapdragons I really love because I could talk about them at great length. The next thing is stock. Stock for me is a must grow. I love it. I want to grow it every year. I have grown this apricot. I have grown buttercream. There's also one called Vintage Brown, I think. And that one is also fantastic. I love it. I love the smell of it, all of it. Next up on the list is strawflower. Now, what's interesting is strawflower is actually having kind of a moment right now. And the two varieties that I have that I didn't start this past year, I just ran out of time and space in the garden. I actually have this apricot mix as well as the copper red. I'm going to be doing both of those in the garden next year. These almost feel dried from the moment they emerge. I'm going to be really interested to play with these and incorporate them in floral arrangements moving into the fall season next year. Next page, we have a few more straw flowers. And again, this is one thing where you're just going to have to know yourself and know what you like in a garden. All right, my friends, we've come to the end. Sweet peas. Sweet peas are something that I have grown and really, really enjoyed. And I've actually made the decision to dedicate a solid row in my cut flower garden to sweet peas this next year. So I want to go through the little bits that I've trialed in years past, hits, misses, and again, a lot of this is personal taste. For me, when I'm growing a sweet pea, I'm not going for like the super bright pinks and oranges. I love the more moody tones. I love like the barely there blushy apricot. I love a white sweet pea. Those are kind of my classics and my go-tos. So I'm gonna lean heavily in that direction. Let's start with Sweet Pea Anniversary. I've grown this. I've loved this. If you like a pink that is a bit more cool toned with white mixed in, more of that bright white, this is going to be a great one for you. Sweet Pea Bix is one of my favorites, hands down. This has more of a creamy white bleeding into an apricot edge. Really, really enjoy this one. Moving down here, there's so many different options. Carlotta is not anything I'm drawn to. This Castle Wellen I am interested in, but I don't think it's going to make the cut for me this year. In terms of blue sweet peas, these are both great ones. However, I have a different set of blue sweet peas that I'm going to be going for. Next, down here, I've never grown chocolate flake. However, I have grown two other flecked sweet pea varieties that I'm going to be growing again, but this did kind of make my short list. The next is Sweet Pea Clotted Cream. This is one that I think is going to make my shopping list this year. Moving down a little bit more, you're seeing I'm going to skip over Dynasty and Edith Flanagan. They're just not my cup of tea. However, Sweet Pea Earl Grey is piquing my interest. I think this is stunning. Moving a little bit down further, I have actually grown this one, Irahan. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is a beautiful sweet pea. Really, really gorgeous. This is probably the most vibrant and blue I would go. Typically, you'll notice I'm sticking to the more muted palette. And again, here, this grower's choice might actually be a really lovely thing if you just like to grow kind of in mass. Moving on to the next page, in terms of the mixes, this cocoa mix I think probably is my favorite of them. I think they've got some really interesting choices, and I love all the flecked sweet peas. And so for me, this is, if I was going to buy a mix, this is what I would buy. High Society, I have grown that one. Again, that is more on the cooler end of the pink category and a really great performer. Now down here on this row, this sweet pea, Jill Walton, is actually gonna make my short list this year. I'd like to trial this one out. I've grown a lot of other peachy ones, but this one is kind of piquing my interest a bit. Oh, and I almost forgot, sweet pea jelly. It's a great performer. I've grown this one, loved it. Moving down, I actually think I might grow this sweet pea limelight this year. This one is kind of interesting to me. Memorial Flight over here, this is a classic white, and there's so many white sweet peas that sometimes it can be hard to narrow it down. Moving down here, this has literally some of my favorites. Sweet pea Molly Rollstone. I can't get over this one. It is so delicate and yummy and smells lovely, the whole nine. Going one category to the right, Mr. P. I grew this one this year, and it is just saturated and dark and interesting. I actually kind of like to pair this one, funny enough, with this sweet pea Nimbus over here. Nimbus is another one of my top favorites and a must grow. In fact, I'm going to be replenishing my seed. Our last category, our last row on this page, the one that is the most interesting to me actually is this Oban Bay. That one I think I might add. I don't have a lot of blues that I've gravitated towards, but this one is kind of more of an ethereal blue and I'm excited about it. Piggy Sue is another one. I've grown it, I've loved it. I'm probably gonna grow something a little bit different this year just to keep things moving. All right, final page, here we come. I was a little bit tempted by Raspberry Flake, but I know myself, again, rule number one, I know myself and I'm probably not gonna use it. However, moving down into this next row, do you see on the left here, this Sir Jimmy Shand? I love that. I love that. And so this is another blue I'm going to trial and see if I can get some more cooler tones in. And then the last row, White Frills is a classic, a great white if you're looking for something. Again, this is a great one to add. Windsor, I'm going to be repurchasing because I love this deep moody tone. And then as a surprise, I don't know, you guys, I might go for this Yvette Ann. I might. We'll have to see. Thank you for staying till the end of the video, and as promised, here are my top 5 seeds to purchase from the Floret sale if you are brand new to cut flower growing. We have number 1, Bachelor Buttons, number 2, Calendula, number 3, Poppies, any variety, number 4, Stock, and number 5, Love in a Mist. Happy gardening!